The annual Thompson family reunion was in full swing at my aunt's sprawling estate. The air was thick with designer perfume and the particular brand of condescension that only comes from people who inherited their success. I stood by the refreshment table, wearing a simple black dress that probably cost less than my cousin Diana's shoes. Around me, various family members discussed their executive positions, their corner offices, their summer homes in the Hamptons. Anna. Still wearing last season's fashion, I see. Diana approached, champagne in hand, her group of corporate climbing cousins trailing behind her like an expensive entourage. As Senior VP of Acquisitions at Thompson Global, she never let anyone forget her position in the family hierarchy. "Hello, Diana," I smiled, sipping my sparkling water. "How's the merger going?" Her perfectly maintained smile flickered slightly. Thompson Global had been trying to acquire Phoenix Consulting Group for months, the deal that would make or break their fiscal year. "Oh, you've heard about that? I suppose even consultants read the business news." She laughed, the sound sharp as broken glass. "Speaking of which, how is your little freelance career going?" I thought about my office on the top floor of Phoenix Tower, about the contracts waiting on my desk, about tomorrow's meeting that would change everything. "Still consulting," I said mildly. "You know how it is." "Poor Anna," Diana sighed dramatically to her audience. "Still a nobody after 10 years. While we're all executives, she's just a random consultant." Our cousin Bradley, newly promoted to Chief Financial Officer at Thompson Global, joined in. "Remember when she turned down Dad's offer to join the family business? Said she wanted to make her own way, or some nonsense. How's that working out for you, Anna?" Diana smirked. "Still living in that tiny apartment?" I thought about my penthouse overlooking Central Park, bought with the profits from my first major acquisition. "It's cozy. You know," Diana leaned in, her voice dripping false concern. "I heard Thompson Global is hiring junior analysts. I could put in a word. Help you finally get a real career." The irony was delicious. Tomorrow morning, Diana and Bradley would walk into the biggest meeting of their careers, expecting to finally close the Phoenix acquisition. They had no idea that Phoenix Consulting Group was my company, built from scratch over the past decade while they climbed their gilded corporate ladders. "That's kind of you," I said, checking my phone. "A text from my COO. Final contracts ready for tomorrow. Still want to surprise them?" "Absolutely," I typed back. "Make sure the cameras are running. I want to remember their faces." "Still can't afford a newer phone?" Bradley noticed my slightly outdated model. "Must be tough scraping by on freelance work." I kept this older phone specifically for family events. My actual phone, like most of my life, was something they never got to see. "We manage," I said vaguely. "How much is the Phoenix acquisition worth again?" I heard something about 9 figures. Diana's eyes narrowed. "That's confidential information. Not that it matters, the deal closes tomorrow. Thompson Global is about to become the largest consulting firm in the Northeast." I bit back a smile. Phoenix was already the largest consulting firm in the Northeast. They just didn't know who owned it. "Well, good luck with that," I said, gathering my modest purse. "I should head home. Early meeting tomorrow." "Oh, finally landed a real client," Diana called after me. "Something like that," I replied, walking away. "Actually, I'm meeting with Thompson Global. But I'm sure you knew that, being Senior VP of Acquisitions and all." I felt her confused stare as I left, imagining how that confusion would transform in about 15 hours when she learned exactly who she'd been mocking. My real phone buzzed in my car, my executive assistant this time. The Thompson Global team arrived for their pre-meeting hotel check-in. "Ms. Diana Thompson has requested the presidential suite." "Give it to her," I replied. "Let her enjoy one last night of feeling superior. Tomorrow everything would change. Tomorrow my cousins would learn that the random consultant they'd mocked for years was actually the founder and CEO of the company they desperately wanted to acquire. And my signature? It would cost them a lot more than just money. The next morning I arrived at Phoenix Tower at 7 a.m., taking my private elevator to the top floor. My office, with its sweeping views of the city, was exactly as I'd left it, sleek, modern, and completely different from the stuffy old-money decor of Thompson Global. There in the main conference room, my assistant Jessica reported, "Ms. Thompson has already commented twice about the excessive modernization of our offices." I smiled. changing into the Armani suit I kept in my private wardrobe. No more last season's dress. Today was about showing them exactly who they'd been underestimating. The contracts? I asked, applying a final touch of lipstick. Modified as requested. The Thompson team has been reviewing them since 6:30. They haven't noticed the ownership details yet. Of course they hadn't. Diana and Bradley were too busy planning their victory speeches to read the fine print. Miss Thompson is getting impatient, Jessica added. She's asked 3 times when the CEO will arrive. I checked my reflection one last time. Well, let's not keep them waiting any longer. The main conference room was all glass and steel, with a view that made even Diana's practiced indifference slip for a moment. The Thompson Global team sat on one side, Diana, Bradley, their lawyers and several board members. The CEO is finally ready to grace us with their presence? Diana asked tartly as I walked in. Actually, I smiled, taking my seat at the head of the table. She's been ready for quite some time. The silence that followed was absolute. Diana's champagne flute slipped from her fingers, spilling across the contract papers. Bradley's face went from red to white so fast I worried about his blood pressure. No, Diana whispered. This is impossible. Anna Thompson, CEO and founder of Phoenix Consulting Group. I introduced myself formally. I believe you have some papers for me to sign? You. Bradley sputtered. But, you're just a consultant. Actually, my COO interjected smoothly. Miss Thompson built Phoenix from the ground up. We're the largest consulting firm in the Northeast, with offices in 12 cities and a client list that includes half of the Fortune 500. Why didn't you tell us? Diana demanded, her composure cracking. Tell you. I leaned forward. Like you told me about the junior analyst position? Or like you told everyone at the reunion about my failed career? One of Thompson Global's board members cleared his throat. Perhaps we should focus on the contracts. Yes, let's. I pulled out the modified agreements. You'll find some changes from the original terms. Given recent revelations about Thompson Global's market position, we've had to adjust the valuation. Diana grabbed the papers, her eyes widening as she saw the new figures. This is highway robbery. No, I corrected calmly. This is business. Your company's stock dropped 15% last quarter. Your major clients are nervous about your outdated technological infrastructure. Something Phoenix could help modernize, of course. For a price. Our father will never agree to this, Bradley threatened. Uncle Charles already has. I slid across another document. My uncle signed approval of the new terms. He called this morning after I sent him proof of Phoenix's true ownership and value. He was surprisingly receptive. Diana's hands shook as she read the new terms. The acquisition had transformed into more of a merger, with Phoenix maintaining significant control and me taking a seat on the combined company's board. All those years, she whispered. All those family events where you mocked my career choices, belittled my success, treated me like a failure. I finished for her. Consider this a lesson in judging books by their covers. Or consultants by their clothes. The next hour was a blur of signatures and legal terms, but I couldn't help noticing how Diana seemed to shrink with each passing minute, her carefully constructed superiority crumbling in the face of reality. As the last document was signed, I stood. Welcome to Phoenix Consulting Group, cousins. I look forward to working with you, though perhaps not in the way you originally imagined. The following Sunday's family dinner was unlike any in Thompson family history. The usual hierarchy had been shattered, replaced by a tense new reality where the family's supposedly failed consultant was now effectively everyone's boss. I arrived at Uncle Charles's mansion fashionably late, wearing Chanel this time, to find the family dynamics had shifted dramatically. Cousins who'd previously ignored me were suddenly eager to chat. Aunts who'd criticized my career choices were now praising my entrepreneurial spirit. Diana and Bradley sat quietly in the corner, both looking slightly shell-shocked. They'd spent the past week watching their carefully constructed world transform. The Thompson Global employees they'd once lorded over now reported to Phoenix executives. Their corner offices had been relocated to make room for my company's more efficient open floor plan. Anna, darling. Aunt Margaret swooped in for air kisses. You must tell us all about Phoenix. We had no idea. Really? I accepted a glass of champagne, the expensive kind they used to hide when I arrived. I tried to tell you all many times, but I believe the usual response was, "Real business happens in established companies, dear." She had the grace to blush. Uncle Charles beckoned me to his study, the inner sanctum where family business had traditionally been discussed without me. "Quite a shock you gave us all," he said, closing the door. "Not all of you," I smiled. "Mom knew everything. Your mother." He shook his head. "My little sister always did see things differently. She believed in you when the rest of us were too blind to see past our own prejudices. She taught me something valuable. Sometimes the best success is the kind nobody sees coming." And now? He gestured to the papers on his desk, reports showing the combined company's first-week projections. "Now that everyone sees? Now we build something better than either company could have been alone. Thomson Global has the connections, Phoenix has the innovation. Together." "Together," he nodded thoughtfully. "Speaking of which, Diana and Bradley will keep their titles," I assured him, though perhaps with some adjusted responsibilities. Back in the main room, I found Diana standing alone by the window. Her usual entourage of corporate climbers had dispersed, probably seeking new alliances in the changed landscape. "The merger teams need your input on the European expansion," I said, joining her. "You know those markets better than anyone." She turned, surprise flickering across her face. "You're keeping me on the project?" "Despite what you might think, Diana, I don't actually enjoy watching people fail. You're good at what you do. You just forgot that other people might be good too." "I've been horrible to you," she admitted quietly. "For years." "Yes, you have." I sipped my champagne. "But now you have a choice. Keep fighting a battle you've already lost or help build something extraordinary." Why offer me that chance? Because 10 years ago when I was starting Phoenix, I promised myself two things. First, that I'd succeed on my own terms. And second, that when I did, I'd be a better person than those who doubted me. Bradley approached cautiously, holding a folder. "The tech team sent over the integration proposals. They're actually impressive. Your systems are years ahead of ours." "That's what happens when you build something from scratch," I said. "No legacy systems, no, this is how we've always done it. Just pure innovation." "Is that why you did it this way?" Diana asked. "Built everything in secret instead of joining us?" "I did it this way because nobody would have given me the chance to do it any other way. You all saw what you expected to see. The cousin who couldn't cut it in corporate life, the consultant scraping by. You never wondered why major companies kept hiring that random consultant, or why Phoenix's CEO never appeared in public. And now," Bradley's voice held a note of genuine curiosity. "Now that everyone knows?" I looked around the room at my family. The power dynamics shifted, the hierarchies reorganized, the truth finally revealed. Now we prove that success isn't about who has the fanciest title or the oldest name. It's about innovation, adaptation, and maybe... I smiled slightly, a little bit of satisfaction in proving everyone wrong. Diana raised her glass slightly. "To proving everyone wrong?" "No," I corrected, thinking of all the possibilities ahead. "To proving ourselves right." And in that moment, as the sun set over the mansion's gardens, I realized that sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't in the revealing of success, but in the chance to rewrite the future, even for those who never believed you could write it at all. 1 year after the merger, I stood at the podium in Phoenix Tower's main auditorium, addressing the combined company's annual meeting. The transformation had been remarkable, not just in business terms, but in how it had reshaped our family's entire dynamic. "Phoenix Thomson Global has exceeded all first-year projections," I announced to the packed room. "Our innovative approach, combined with established market presence, has created something truly unique in the consulting world." In the front row, Diana sat taking notes, not out of obligation but genuine interest. The past year had changed her perhaps more than anyone. After the initial shock wore off, she'd thrown herself into learning everything about Phoenix's modern approaches, eventually leading our digital transformation initiative. "And now," I continued, "I'd like to invite our head of global innovation to present our next major project." Bradley stood up, confidently taking the stage. Gone was the arrogant CFO who'd mocked my career choices. In his place stood a leader who'd learned to value innovation over tradition. The Future Leaders Program, he began, pulling up his presentation, will identify and support entrepreneurs within our organization, particularly those whose ideas might seem unconventional by traditional standards. I caught Diana's eye and we shared a small smile. The program had been her idea. A way to ensure no other innovative thinker would have to build their success in secret like I had. After the meeting, we gathered in my office. No longer just cousins bound by obligation, but colleagues united by a shared vision. Remember last year's family reunion? Diana asked, accepting a coffee from my assistant. When I called you a nobody? Hard to forget, I replied, but without bitterness. Success had healed old wounds. This year's reunion will be different. She laughed softly. Though I have to admit, watching Aunt Patricia try to explain to her society friends how she always believed in you is entertaining. Speaking of entertainment, Bradley added, pulling out his tablet, wait until you see the applications for the Future Leaders Program. There's this junior analyst, reminds me of someone else who once had unconventional ideas. The tablet showed a proposal for AI-driven consulting methodology, exactly the kind of innovation the old Thomson Global would have dismissed. Give her a chance, I decided. Set up a meeting. Already did, Diana smiled. Some of us have learned to recognize potential when we see it. My phone buzzed. Mom was calling. She'd been my only supporter during those early years, keeping my secret while the family dismissed her faith in me as maternal blindness. The community college wants you to speak at graduation, she announced without preamble. About building success on your own terms. I thought about the past year, about Diana learning humility while discovering her talent for innovation, about Bradley trading arrogance for genuine leadership, about Uncle Charles admitting that success doesn't always wear a traditional suit. I'll do it, I agreed. But I want to bring some people with me. Show them that sometimes the best success stories include redemption arcs. Later that evening, as we prepared for a client dinner, Diana paused by my office door. You could have fired us all, you know. After how we treated you, nobody would have blamed you. That would have been revenge, I replied. This is something better. What's that? Evolution. Proving that success isn't just about winning, it's about lifting others up once you do. Even those who didn't believe in you. She nodded thoughtfully. The nobody who became everybody's boss. No, I corrected. The consultant who proved that success doesn't always look like what people expect. As we headed to dinner, I caught our reflection in the office windows. No longer the superior cousins and their failing relative, but a team of equals building something revolutionary. Sometimes the best revenge isn't in proving others wrong, but in giving them the chance to prove themselves right in an entirely new way. Even if it takes $1 million contract signing to start the process. After all, success is sweetest when shared, even with those who once made you sit alone.